clue what he was talking about. That was the first time I ever heard about the third eye. He opened a locked drawer, pulled out a small red bottle with a capsule that looked just like any vitamin you'd buy at the drugstore, and said it was going to boost my focus and sharpen my performance on the missions we had coming up.
And you took it without knowing what it was?
Joe, inside the CIA, you don't ask questions. If your boss hands you something and tells you to take it, you take it. I took it every day like he told me to. The first few days I didn't feel a thing. But after 2 weeks, I started noticing changes I couldn't explain. The ringing I'd had in my ears for years was gone. I was sleeping through the night for the first time in God knows how long. My mind felt like it had completely woken up. My perception got razor sharp. I started seeing solutions to complex problems I used to think were impossible, and I never had headaches or brain fog again. It was like my intelligence had doubled overnight. I wasn't just better, I had become a different person, with abilities I used to think were impossible. I started quietly asking some of the older colleagues about that mystery stuff. The answers were always vague and evasive. Everyone seemed uncomfortable with my questions, like they were hiding something really important. It was clear I was going to have to dig into this myself. Using my position inside the CIA, I started combing through restricted files, accessing classified documents that only a handful of people had access to. I needed to understand why, for the first time in my life, everything felt so clear. Why topics that used to feel complex now made total sense, and why I had developed this almost supernatural ability to extract information during interrogations, like I could literally read minds. After days of digging nonstop, I found a file locked under heavy encryption with an intriguing title, The Secret Gland. The document explicitly talked about a gland in the brain called the pineal, known to the ancient Egyptians as the third eye. Top secret documents stated that in more than 99% of the world's population, this gland was intentionally calcified, blocked by the fluoride in tap water, processed food, and personal care products, keeping all of humanity trapped in a tiny fraction of what it's actually capable of. Less than 1% of humanity had this gland fully active, something people inside the agency quietly called an awakened individual. The reports described these people in a way that gave me chills. Insane intelligence, mental clarity that felt like mind reading, off-the-charts immunity, intuition so sharp they knew what was going to happen before it happened, and an ability to manifest whatever they wanted that bordered on supernatural. And the documents weren't talking about regular people. They named world leaders, inventors who changed humanity, billionaires, everyone knows, all with this gland active in total secrecy. That was the moment I understood how serious this was. While those people lived with full access to the power of the third eye, the rest of the world was walking around numb with no idea there was another level. That capsule my boss gave me wasn't some simple focus booster. It wasn't a stimulant. It wasn't a supplement. It was the key that opened something that had been stolen from humanity for decades. And without even realizing it, I was on the inside of that door, while billions of people stayed on the outside, pounding on it their whole lives without even knowing it existed. I went straight to my boss's office with the document in my hand, and when he saw what I'd pulled up, his face went white instantly, and he shut the door, lowered his voice, and told me if I brought this up again, I'd be charged under the Espionage Act and spend the rest of my life in a federal prison, no negotiation, no help, and no one would ever hear from me again. I was shaken, put the document away, tried to go on with my life like nothing happened, but in the months that followed, it was impossible to ignore what was happening inside me. My perception got crystal clear. My spiritual connection that used to be basically non-existent intensified in a way I still can't rationally explain to this day. It was like a much bigger force was showing me exactly what they were trying to hide from the entire world. And that's when I finally got why they went that far to threaten me. A population with the third eye open could never be controlled, manipulated, or fooled. Awakened people don't follow any political leader, don't obey any financial authority, don't consume what they're told to consume, and that's exactly why they were desperate to keep this secret buried. Even after that threat, I made the most dangerous decision of my life. I went back to the restricted archives and searched for the reports again. This time, I knew exactly what I was looking for, but I also knew I was committing a federal crime and putting my freedom on the line. What I found was worse than I imagined. I opened a document dated 1945. It detailed an experiment the United States government kicked off right after World War II ended, something that started the exact same year the Nazis were defeated. According to that official document, the first city in the United States to have fluoride added to the public water was Grand Rapids, Michigan in 1945. The reason given to the public was to prevent cavities, supposedly making people healthier. But if the goal was really to prevent dental problems, why not just put the fluoride in toothpaste? Why add it straight into the water, something the entire population drinks every single day, unavoidably, with no choice? The answer came in the lines that followed. The document clearly mentioned Nazi studies recovered at the end of the war. Hitler had used fluoride in concentration camps for a hidden and terrifying purpose. He discovered that fluoride didn't just physically destroy the pineal gland, it also cut off any spiritual and psychic connection in the victims, making them submissive, passive, and incapable of any kind of mental resistance. Hitler was obsessed with ancient rituals and esoteric practices. He deeply believed that whoever controlled the hidden power of the pineal gland, the third eye, could control not just people but entire nations. And unfortunately, he was right. That was his secret weapon, based on ancient Egyptian texts and Sumerian scrolls that described exactly how to block the third eye. But the story didn't end there with the fall of Berlin. After the Nazi defeat, more than 1,600 German scientists were secretly brought to the United States through Operation Paperclip, including names like Wernher von Braun, the father of the American space program, and one of the leading experts on Nazi occult science.
And what did the United States want with these scientists?
They wanted everything they knew, Joe. These scientists had no choice. They were captured, threatened, and backed into a corner by the American government. Either they handed over every file, every experiment, every secret protocol, or they disappeared forever and no one would ever hear from them again. And they handed it all over. Everything they discovered about mind control through blocking the pineal gland went straight into the hands of the United States government.
Damn.
And the document revealed everything that happened next. The American government adopted these practices fast. They realized exactly what the Nazis had already figured out. A population with an active pineal gland is impossible to control, and that's why they decided to act. The document made it clear the mass rollout of fluoride in the U.S. public water supply wasn't a health move. It was a deliberate tool for mass mind control, a calculated plan for social domination that started the same year the war ended and continues to this day. But what they didn't predict, or simply didn't care about, is that blocking the pineal gland doesn't just shut down the spiritual and intellectual side of a person. The pineal gland is the hormonal control center of the entire brain. It regulates the production of melatonin, which is the hormone that protects the brain from degeneration. It controls the thyroid, which regulates the body's entire metabolism. It balances cortisol, which is the stress hormone. When you calcify that gland, you don't just shut down the third eye. You shut down the entire protection system of the brain and the body. And what happened in the decades that followed was exactly that. An explosion of diseases nobody could explain. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, chronic insomnia, depression, ringing in the ears, memory loss, obesity no diet can fix, anxiety no medication can control. All of this explodes starting at 50, 60 years old, which is exactly the age where pineal calcification hits its peak. Every 65 seconds, someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's in America, and not a single doctor in the world connects it to the pineal gland. Because as long as your pineal is calcified, there's no cure for any of these diseases. There's only medicine that controls the symptom and keeps you dependent for the rest of your life. And that's where Big Pharma comes in. They didn't create these diseases on purpose, but when they saw the damage fluoride was causing, instead of stopping it, they built $1 billion empire on top of the suffering of every person with a blocked pineal.
Dude, that reminds me of something a few months back. Robert Kennedy Jr. was here on the podcast, and he talked about exactly this, about the effects of fluoride on the brain. He cited a study done with kids in Michigan and Calgary, Canada. The kids in Michigan, where they still put fluoride in the water, had on average 10 IQ points less than the kids in Calgary, where fluoride was completely removed. And the craziest part is that after they removed it, Calgary started recording levels of childhood intelligence nobody had seen in decades. The kids literally got smarter overnight just by cutting out fluoride.
Exactly, Joe. And what Kennedy can't say publicly is that the CIA knew this the whole time. We knew that study only confirmed publicly what's been in the agency's internal files for decades. Fluoride reduces the cognitive capacity of an entire population. It's not theory. It's not speculation, it's scientific data, and they still keep putting it in the water your kids and grandkids drink every single day. At that moment, I understood the real scale of what had been done to us. But knowing the problem wasn't enough. I needed to know if there was a way to reverse it. So I kept combing through the archives. That's when I found a report titled Project Stargate. That report represented $20 million and 23 years of research, and I was holding it in my hands. The report explained that around 1970, American intelligence discovered that the Soviet Union was secretly developing research on psychic abilities, entire laboratories dedicated to training spies to see targets thousands of miles away, predict attacks before they happened, and develop abilities like telekinesis that would give absolute advantage in any military operation, all tied directly to the activation of the third eye. And the Americans realized they were falling behind because the Soviets were developing something the United States hadn't even started researching. So one of the biggest secret races in history began.
Secret race?
Exactly. The same way they raced to see who'd reach the moon first, there was a second race going on in the shadows during the Cold War that never showed up in any newspaper, any history book, a silent race to see who would dominate the human mind first. In 1972, the CIA created Project Stargate in partnership with the Stanford Research Institute in California. There was only one goal: figure out how to awaken psychic abilities in American soldiers. The report showed that in the first few years, the CIA was completely lost. They tested things that bordered on insane. They locked soldiers in dark chambers for 72 hours, applied low-frequency electric shocks directly on the pineal region, meditation sessions of 12 hours straight. They spent millions trying to force the third eye open, and nothing worked. Until they finally figured out where the mistake was. And the irony was brutal, Joe. They had caused the problem themselves. The same government that put fluoride in the water of the entire population now couldn't activate the third eye of their own soldiers because fluoride had calcified their pineal too. No matter what they did, nothing was going to work while that layer of poison was still there. The report described that during the Vietnam War, CIA doctors noticed something strange in the routine checkups of American soldiers stationed at bases in Thailand near a region called Chiang Mai. The pineal gland of these soldiers was significantly less calcified than any other American soldier at any other base in the world. Nobody understood why. Until they traced their diet and American intelligence got access to internal documents from one of the Soviet psychic labs. And what came inside those documents changed everything. The Russians had found the activator not in a lab, but by studying isolated communities in India and Tibet who had been consuming daily for more than 3,000 years, a plant they call the fruit of enlightenment, Haritaki, and they were already using it on their spies. That's why they were winning the race. The same day those documents arrived, the CIA added Haritaki to the protocol that already had tamarind and boron, and for the first time in over a decade, it happened. Soldiers started reporting dreams so vivid, they'd wake up with information they had no way of knowing. Intuition so sharp, they'd anticipate target decisions in simulations before they happened. Clairvoyance, measurable manifestation.
Damn.
From that point on, the results kept coming, one after another. A CIA agent named Rosemary Smith located a Soviet plane that crashed in Zaire, more than 80 miles from the search area. She described the exact coordinates sitting in a room in Maryland. The report showed more than 450 successful missions using only the third eye, hostages located in Iran, identification of KGB equipment. Every result confirmed the same thing. The protocol worked. The CIA had finally figured out how to open the third eye of any human being.
And did they release this at the time?
Just the opposite. Both governments realized that if this fell into the hands of the regular public, they'd immediately lose control and dominance over the population. So the two biggest enemies of the Cold War did something no history book will ever tell you about. They agreed to classify everything at the highest level of national security because the power of an open third eye was greater than any ideology. And it was right there, reading that report, that all the pieces clicked in my head. I finally understood what my boss had given me years before and what anyone needed to do to unlock the real power of their mind and finally live the life they always wanted. The problem is this protocol simply didn't exist outside the walls of Phi and combine natural compounds at pharmaceutical concentrations without relying on any industry. I knew exactly one person in the world capable of doing that. I reached out to Dr. Richard Zimmerman, PhD in neuroendocrinology from Johns Hopkins University. Zimmerman spent 30 years of his life studying how natural compounds interact with the human brain, and he's recognized by the people who actually understand this field as one of the leading living authorities on brain regeneration. When I showed him the CIA protocol, he went silent for almost a full minute, staring at the documents without saying a word. Then he looked at me and said, "John, I've spent my entire career searching for this." He already knew the pineal gland was the key to everything he'd been studying, but he had never seen a complete activation protocol with the exact compounds and the right concentrations nobody in the civilian world had. From that point on, we set up a private lab, completely off the radar, with no ties to any university, any pharmaceutical company, any government, and Zimmerman started working to replicate and refine the CIA protocol into a formula that would be safe and accessible for anyone. During the initial testing, Zimmerman identified that beyond the tamarind, the boron, and the haritaki, the formula needed a cognitive enhancer to speed up the regeneration of a brain that had spent decades atrophied by calcification. So he added lion's mane, a medicinal mushroom that is the only natural compound known to science that stimulates the production of nerve growth factor in the brain. Basically, it makes the brain build new neural connections. The same mushroom that, according to research from Princeton University, was part of Albert Einstein's daily routine during the period he developed his main theories. We finally had in our hands something that could truly change lives. Something capable of giving back to millions of people what had been stolen from them their entire lives, but we needed proof, so we did something risky. We posted a simple message on Facebook saying we were looking for volunteers for a study on brain activation. Without mentioning third eye, without mentioning pineal, without mentioning CIA, just study on brain activation. To our surprise, more than 1,300 people showed up on the first day. Desperate people, Joe. People who had already tried everything and couldn't fix anything in their lives. We selected 50 volunteers between 35 and 85 years old, and Zimmerman personally supervised every step for 2 weeks. Each volunteer took the formula once a day under strict monitoring by the team, and what happened in the first 3 days, nobody on the team expected. The brain scans were already showing intense activation in the pineal gland region in all 50 participants, with no exceptions, something Zimmerman himself said he had never seen in 30 years of research. The volunteers started calling us in the middle of the night, calling the team at 3 in the morning saying they had just had the most real dream of their lives. People crying on the phone saying they woke up with answers to problems they had been carrying for decades. A 67-year-old woman called saying that for the first time in 20 years, she slept through the whole night without waking up once, and the body pain she felt every day just disappeared. Another volunteer, I still remember her name to this day, Margaret. She called me during the first week of the trial saying she had just closed on the house she had been dreaming about for more than 10 years. That house came out of nowhere in a neighborhood she wasn't even looking in for a price the realtor himself said he'd never seen in his career. She told me that from the moment she started taking the formula, she felt like things were just coming to her instead of her having to chase after them. And there was also a 35-year-old guy, a lawyer, who had failed the bar exam twice in a row, one of the hardest exams in the United States. 2 weeks after starting the trial, he took the exam for the third time and passed with one of the highest scores of the year. He told me that during the exam, the answers were popping into his head before he even finished reading the question. We documented everything on video, including the moment when the participants saw their own brain images before and after. Some of them actually cried in front of the screen, watching the transformation happening inside their brains with their own eyes in real time.
I'm recording this video because I really needed to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm 53 years old, and over the last few months, my life felt like it was falling apart. I started forgetting names, simple, everyday things. My doctor even said it could be the early signs of Alzheimer's. On top of that, I was always exhausted, no energy, my health getting worse, and my finances tighter every day. But after I started taking that capsule before bed, it's like my mind lit up again. I can feel my pineal gland slowly breaking free. I'm focused, I'm remembering everything, and my ideas are back. For the first time in a long time, I feel truly alive. Thank you for not keeping this to yourself.
John, I gotta be honest with you, man. After 15 days taking this formula manifestation actually started working for me, it's like my spiritual connection completely shifted. My intuition is borderline unbelievable. Sometimes it feels like I'm straight up predicting the future. Good things are just happening to me without me doing anything different. And don't even get me started on the sleep, man. Keep doing what you're doing. This is going to change a lot of people's lives.
That wasn't theory anymore. I saw with my own eyes what happens when the third eye of a regular person finally opens, and from that moment on, it became impossible to keep this a secret any longer. No matter the threats, no matter the risks my family and I would face, I needed to give access to this to every single person, because in the next few days, this is going to go viral. And I know what's going to happen to me. I know what they're going to try to do. But once millions of people know about this, there's no way to hide it anymore.
John, after everything you've shown here, I think everyone watching wants to know the same thing I do. How do they get a bottle of this formula?
Look, Joe, my wife made me promise I'd never risk our family's freedom over this again. And I understand where she's coming from. I've been to prison once already. She knows what it means for me to get involved in this kind of stuff again. But after seeing with my own eyes what happened to the people who tried the formula, I just couldn't sleep anymore, pretending it didn't exist. This stopped being a choice and became my obligation, and that's why today, even knowing everything that could happen to me, I decided to bring the Third Eye Activator exclusively to everyone watching right now. Third Eye Activator is the first and only 100% natural formula capable of completely dissolving the calcification in your pineal gland and activating your third eye. It was developed by Zimmerman and the whole team. We spent 8 months locked inside a private lab until we managed to turn the CIA protocol into a formula anyone could safely use at home. Third Eye Activator does 3 things that no other product, no meditation, and no spiritual technique can do at the same time. It cleans the fluoride built up in your pineal, it protects it so it never calcifies again, and it activates the third eye permanently. That means from the moment you start using it, the block that's been sabotaging your life since the day you were born starts getting removed and never comes back. You might not know this, but only 3% of the population has the third eye active, and my mission is to make sure you become part of that group. Since you trusted me and stayed with me until now, I'm going to do something I've never done before and probably won't be able to do again. I'm going to send 3 bottles of Third Eye Activator completely free to your house. A lot of people called me crazy for doing this because I'm going to take a huge financial loss. But honestly, I don't care. I don't want you spending the rest of your life living as a side character while the same crooks who run the world keep controlling your health, your finances, and your spiritual life. This move is part of what we're calling the Awakened Nation, a movement to wake up as many people as possible before they manage to silence us and take this off the air.
Man, that's incredible. Thank you for doing this.
No, thank you, Joe. To be honest, I'm surprised at how fast this project is spreading. Recently, we got a video from Jim Carrey himself, completely spontaneous, sharing the personal results he got with Third Eye Activator and going out of his way to publicly back our initiative.
I promised myself I wouldn't speak publicly about opening the third eye anymore. But I started using Third Eye Activator, and over these past few weeks, my mental clarity and lucidity have reached levels I didn't even know were possible. I'm sharper, sleeping better, a whole new life after finally opening my third eye. My spiritual connection is deeper and clearer than it's ever been. That's why I decided to personally back the Awakened Nation, because finally everyone is going to have the chance to experience this.
And last week, we were even more surprised when Dr. Joe Dispenza presented our formula at one of his workshops to thousands of people and said publicly that it was the only one he'd ever seen in his life actually capable of cleaning the pineal, activating the third eye, and letting people manifest what they've always dreamed about.
The past 20 years, I've dedicated my life to studying the pineal gland and the extraordinary power it has to completely transform any reality. I've seen patients walk away from terminal illness, I've seen people manifest realities that seemed impossible, all from the moment this gland is activated. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that Third Eye Activator is today the most powerful tool that exists to naturally unlock and activate this gland. I've already presented this formula in workshops with thousands of people, and the results I've been seeing in such a short time are unlike anything I've witnessed in my entire career.
All you have to do is take one capsule before bed. While you're resting deeply, the formula works directly on your pineal gland, eliminating years of toxic calcification built up from fluoride. But this goes way beyond opening the third eye. You know that memory loss that starts slow and keeps getting worse over time? That's the calcified pineal that stopped producing melatonin, the hormone that protects your brain from degenerating. You know that stubborn fat that won't go away no matter what you do? Diet, exercise, nothing works? That's because without melatonin, your metabolism slows down and your body just stops burning. You know those nights when you wake up at 3 in the morning and can't fall back asleep? That's because the hormone that regulates your rest comes straight from that gland that's been blocked for decades. And that drop in sexual performance that showed up over time and you never had the guts to tell anyone about, that comes down to the pineal too. Because when it calcifies, the brain stops sending the hormonal signals that keep libido and performance working like before. All of this that you thought was just age, just genetics, just a normal part of getting old. It's none of that. It's the fluoride they've been feeding you your entire life. So when you take Third Eye Activator, you're not just activating the third eye, you're giving back to your body everything that was stolen from it by decades of fluoride and getting back functions you'd already given up on ever having again. And don't just take my word for it. Everyday videos come into our community from people whose lives were transformed by Third Eye Activator.
So several friends started asking me if I had gotten some kind of cosmetic procedure done, but the only thing I did was take one capsule of this supplement before bed. My goal wasn't even to improve my appearance. I just wanted to open my third eye. But what happened went way beyond what I expected. For years, I just accepted that it was normal for my age to have low energy, foggy mind, bad memory, and aging skin, until one long night of sleep, I truly felt my third eye open. Since that day, I never wake up with body pain again. My memory has improved so much, and people are telling me I look years younger. It's like my body started producing youthful hormones again. My skin is glowing, my joints feel better, and even my latest lab results showed a huge drop in inflammation levels. Thank you, John. I'm recommending this to everyone I know.
Look, I was never one to believe in any of this spiritual stuff. I served as a Marine for almost 2 decades, and I learned to only trust what I can see and touch. I spent over 10 years fighting a heavy depression and insomnia that no medication could fix. I tried everything, pills, therapy, even meditation. Nothing worked. I had already accepted that this was how it was going to be for the rest of my life. My wife kept pushing me to try Third Eye Activator. At first, I didn't even want to hear about it, but she wouldn't let it go, so I placed my order and started using it every night before bed. 2 weeks. I couldn't believe what was happening to me. For the first time in years, I'm actually sleeping. That kind of sleep where you wake up and feel like you actually rested. Those dark thoughts that followed me around every single day, the constant body pain, that feeling of sadness I carried for years just disappeared. I can't explain how. I just know they're gone. Honestly, I didn't think this was possible for me. Thank you so much.
After tracking thousands of people using the formula, it became clear that the first few days are powerful. Sleep comes back, energy shifts, clarity shows up. But that's just the beginning. That's your body responding to the fluoride cleanse. The real transformation happens starting around the 3rd month. That's when people start actually manifesting. Money showing up with no explanation, opportunities coming out of nowhere, a clairvoyance so sharp you start making the right decisions without knowing how to explain why. and a connection to something bigger that makes you feel for the first time that you're in control of your own life. And anyone who makes it to the 6th month hits a level I only saw inside the CIA. The activation becomes permanent. The third eye doesn't close anymore. No matter how much fluoridated water you drink, no matter what they do, your brain has already rebuilt itself, and nobody can take that from you ever again. And honestly, 6 months to get back what was stolen from you your entire life, I think you deserve that. And there's something extremely important I haven't mentioned yet. I need everyone watching to pay close attention right now. Since 98% of people choose the 6-bottle kit, I honestly have no idea how many units will be left after the button to claim your bottles shows up here below in the next few minutes. We don't mass produce this like Big Pharma that creates fake solutions just thinking about profit. If we try to speed up production, the active compounds lose their potency and the formula just stops working. That's why we work with small batches every 6 months. That's the only way to guarantee every bottle has the exact concentration that makes this actually work. And on top of that, I truly believe this might be the last time I can make Third Eye Activator available to the public. Over the last few months, the pressure on me has grown in a way I didn't expect. Legal threats, regulatory demands, Big Pharma pushing from every angle to get this off the market once and for all. And I don't know how much longer I can hold them off. Being totally honest with you, I have no idea if tomorrow or even a few hours from now this page will still be up. While I'm talking to you in this video, we have a little under 200 bottles left in our stock if you don't grab yours right now. I really can't promise there's going to be a next time.
How much does a bottle of this cost? I'd easily pay $1,000 to try this.
On the last batch, I got an email from a guy in Dallas offering $5,000 for a single bottle. I've had people offer me cars, watches, you name it, and I totally get it because what's inside this bottle isn't a vitamin. It's not a supplement. It's the only thing left that can dissolve what they put in your pineal over the last 70 years. And when it starts working again, you're not just getting mental clarity, you're getting the edge. The CIA spent 30 years trying to keep for themselves. You start knowing things before they happen. You start reading people like an open book. You start sleeping 5 hours and waking up with energy you haven't felt since you were 25. I've been exactly where you are right now, and I know exactly what you're going through. I know what it's like to feel stuck in a frustrating cycle where nothing seems to work, no matter how hard you try. But I also know that Third Eye Activator was the only real and permanent solution that got me out of that cycle. And I want to do exactly the same for you. That's why today you won't have to invest the $1,000 a lot of people would gladly pay. Not even half of that, $500. Honestly, you're not even going to pay close to that. The regular price for a single bottle of Third Eye Activator outside of this page is $197. But since you made it all the way here, and decided to act now, I want to give you a much better opportunity. Today only, when you secure your complete treatment with 6 bottles, you pay for only 3. The other 3 bottles are a gift from us, completely free. Each bottle comes out to just $49, and you lock in exactly the 6 months needed for a deep, permanent, and transformative activation of your third eye.
Just $49 a bottle? Dude, I spend more than that a week on coffee at Starbucks. I want 6 bottles for myself. I want to start using this today. And anyone watching needs to understand this isn't about buying a supplement. This is a decision that can change the rest of your life.
Exactly. And honestly, it's the simplest decision anyone can make right now. Because on top of sending you 3 bottles for free, I want to offer you a 1-year guarantee. Here's how it works. If you don't notice your intuition getting so sharp, you start making confident decisions with total certainty. Or even if you're not 100% satisfied with any aspect of Third Eye Activator, something that honestly has never happened with any of our customers to this day, just send a simple email to our support team that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we'll refund every cent you invested. No hassles, no red tape, no uncomfortable questions. This guarantee means something very important. You don't have to decide anything today. You can lock in a full supply for you and your family right now, enjoy the incredible results for up to 12 months, and only then decide if it was worth it. And I do this because, unlike big pharmaceutical companies and scam gurus, I'm absolutely certain about the transformative power of our formula. I'm 100% sure Third Eye Activator is going to completely blow you away. In other words, your risk is literally 0. So why wait? The last bottles are officially available for you right now, so don't wait another second. pick your kit right down here and lock in this one-time opportunity to awaken all the potential you have inside you starting this week. I really recommend going with the complete 6-bottle kit of Third Eye Activator because on top of the huge savings, you also lock in a complete and deep cleanse of your pineal gland, the permanent activation of your third eye, and a strong, constant, and powerful connection with the universe. That means unlocking once and for all your deepest spiritual power, manifesting unlimited financial abundance, perfect health, and extraordinary relationships, protecting your mind and body from the invisible toxins and spiritual manipulations you're exposed to every single day. Now, if you prefer the mid-tier kit with 3 bottles, you pay for only 2 bottles and get the 3rd bottle free, locking in a full 3-month supply. In that case, each bottle of Third Eye Activator comes out to just $69. But let me be real with you for a second. 99% of people who only buy 1 or 3 bottles regret it. And it's not because it doesn't work. It's actually the opposite. It works so well that when they're finally feeling what they always dreamed of, sleeping through the night, manifesting things that seemed impossible with a clarity they never had in their lives, the formula runs out before they complete the full cycle. And then they call me desperate, asking for more bottles, and the batch is already sold out. That doesn't mean you won't see powerful results with 1 or 3 months. On the contrary, the changes start in the first few days, but if you want a permanent activation of the third eye, and don't want to risk being at the best moment of your life and running out of the formula, I really recommend the complete 6-bottle kit where you pay for only 3 and get 3 more completely free. And for anyone who locks in the 3 or 6-bottle kit today, I put together 2 extremely exclusive gifts. Nobody else is going to give you this. The first is the Stargate Remote Viewing Protocol. This is the exact technique the CIA used to train the most powerful agents of Project Stargate, the same technique Rosemary Smith used to find that Soviet plane in Zaire 80 miles from the search area, a step-by-step guide on how to awaken the clairvoyance inside you and start picking up information you'd have no other way of knowing. This technique was classified for more than 30 years, and to this day the government denies it works. But you're going to test it firsthand and see that this is actually real. The second gift is exclusive access to Manifest Today, a manifestation app that some of the most successful people on the planet quietly use to program their intentions daily. Every night before bed, together with your Third Eye Activator capsule, you open the app, write down what you want to manifest, track the evolution of your dreams and your clairvoyance, and the app guides you through a calibration session that syncs the frequency of your third eye with exactly what you want to attract into your life. The more you use it, the more powerful your connection becomes. It's like having a personal trainer for your third eye in your pocket around the clock. If these 2 gifts were sold separately, they'd easily cost more than $2,497. But today, you're not going to pay a single cent for them. I'm offering both for free exclusively for whoever locks in their 3 or 6-bottle kit of Third Eye Activator right now. So here's what you do. Look right below, see if there's still a bottle available, and choose your kit. As soon as you choose, you'll be redirected to a 100% secure and encrypted page. No personal data is stored, and your order is processed immediately and exactly so we could give you the deal you're seeing right here, right now. But before you decide, I need to warn you about something right this second while I'm talking to you. There are less than 70 bottles left in our stock, and that number is dropping in real time with those 3 extra bottles I just released. I honestly don't believe the stock is going to last more than a few minutes. And when it hits 0, it's over, and I don't have an answer for when it comes back or if it comes back. Picture your...
क्या तुम हमेशा मेरे साथ रहोगी, मेरे प्यार?
हमेशा, जहाँ भी तुम जाओगे